In this video, we will talk about trauma and its impact, especially in relation to women and children who experience domestic violence. Trauma can be viewed as single incident trauma or complex trauma. Single incident trauma is a one-off event, such as a car crash, bushfire, flood, or a burglary. It can affect those that witness the event or those that are directly impacted. As this type of trauma has a start and end point, once individuals reach a place of safety, they are likely to recover. Contrastingly, complex trauma is cumulative, repetitive, spanning over months and years, normally within the context of family and intimate partner relationships. Again, complex trauma can affect those who witness the event, as in the case of domestic and family violence, children, or those that are directly impacted. As complex trauma is repeated and ongoing, recovery is more difficult, and in some cases, individuals can become locked in a trauma state. How trauma impacts the brain and the body. Trauma is known to impact the brain, and we are now learning more about how it also impacts the body. The brain is made up of the following: the prefrontal cortex, the limbic system, and the brainstem. When we are calm, all parts of the brain work harmoniously with one another. However, when an individual experiences trauma, whether it be physical or emotional, the different parts of the brain disengage. Our thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, shuts down. We are unable to think logically and can only feel and react. When this happens, individuals' stress response kicks in. Stress responses vary from person to person. When the body responds defensively, it's just trying to keep an individual safe. Individuals have little control over their response to stress. Reactions happen quickly and automatically to any signs of danger. Types of trauma responses. The fight response, the sudden high increase of hormones causing aggression or similar behaviour. The flight response may be when we take flight or run. This could be seen in acts such as avoidance of conflict and lack of agency and confidence. The freeze or flop response is seen when individuals shut down, go numb, or become immobilized. And finally, the faint fawn response. This is part of the freeze response. It's a play dead response and is when an individual cannot defend themselves anymore. Most trauma survivors spend a lot of time in either a state of hyperarousal or hypoarousal. In some cases, individuals exposed to ongoing trauma can become locked in these states. How trauma impacts the body. We now know from recent research, trauma impacts not only the brain but also the body. The vagus nerve that runs through the body connects the brain and the gut to every major organ such as heart, lungs, etc., and explains why trauma and stress is felt so immediately throughout our bodies. When we experience trauma or stress, before any type of talking or making sense of a situation can occur, individuals need to find a way to feel safe again. This will be different for each person and can be achieved through self-soothing and self-regulating activities or practices. Once this sense of safety is reached, all parts of the brain go back online so the individual can begin to process information and function more appropriately. Trauma is felt in the brain and the body, and our response is instinctual and involuntary. It is not a choice we make. It is not good or bad. It is a mechanism that aims to keep us safe and has done so for millions of years. Children and trauma. Trauma in the context of abuse in a family unit can have a detrimental effect on the attachment of a child and in turn their development, and for this reason is often referred to as developmental trauma. To thrive, children need a safe, supportive, and predictable environment in their primary relationships. However, trauma in the context of domestic and family violence is often being inflicted by a child's primary caregiver who is supposed to be their protector. Therefore, children can't attach. This disrupted attachment leaves children feeling stressed, unsafe, and unable to connect with those around them. Their brains are endlessly vigilant and their bodies in a state of constant alarm. Research conducted by the Australian Childhood Foundation shows that these vulnerable children lack a sense of who they are, where they belong, and how they fit into the world. To understand domestic and family abuse, the intersection of trauma must also be taken into account. After experiencing a traumatic event, it's normal and natural for individuals to respond by feeling confused, angry, sad, anxious, and agitated, feeling guilt or shame, or thinking what has occurred is their fault, being hyper-aware of their surroundings and on high alert for danger, feeling emotionally numb or disconnecting from painful thoughts, feelings, and memories related to the traumatic event.